When a man is older and single, people assume something went wrong. They rarely consider another possibility, that he finally noticed what wasn't worth rushing for. Most men think slowing down means losing interest. What they don't notice is what starts leaving when they don't. He didn't lose her by caring too little. He lost her by trying to control the outcome. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about the moment a man stops forcing himself to fit. Most men don't notice this shift until something already slips away. By the time they name it, they've already lived with it for years. What she's truly loyal to, most men learn this late. Loyalty doesn't grow from effort alone. What lasts is the emotional space you create, not how hard you try. You remember the sacrifices and the conversations where you stayed calm when you wanted to speak up. But she remembers how the space felt between you after a long day, whether being near you felt simple or tense. A man once told me, half joking, half serious, I handled the pleasures, the problems, the stability, I forgot to stay myself. When a man is fully present, he doesn't need to impress. He listens without waiting for his turn. He doesn't sit there wondering if he just lost points for saying the wrong thing. Hold yourself back long enough, and the man she chose disappears. That includes your confidence, your humor, even the slightly awkward way you didn't know what to do with your hands around her. When a man understands that, he stops asking what he did wrong. And something shifts after that. He stops monitoring himself. He stops measuring every word. Conversations feel lighter because he's no longer performing. When calm starts to matter more than excitement, at some point, excitement stops being impressive. Not because desire disappeared, but because his body started keeping score. In his 20s or 30s, calm felt suspicious, like something important had gone missing. What once felt alive now just feels loud. If attraction leaves you drained, the cost isn't passion. Not because of theory, because they've paid the cost before. One man told me with a dry smile, I used to call it chemistry, now I call it recovery time. Attraction shouldn't require a nap the next day. If it does, it's not chemistry, it's cardio. When a man has lived long enough, he stops asking whether someone is exciting. History is full of emperors with endless access to pleasure, who didn't die young from enemies, but from exhaustion. Not everything deserves a front row seat anymore. He'd rather protect his health with sleep than pay for mixed signals in his dreams. One small thing helped more than most advice ever did. He stopped checking his messages after 9, just for one night. The mental weight eased. This doesn't make him distant. It makes him selective. That's when he starts spending his time like it actually matters, because he already paid the price and doesn't intend to pay it twice. Seneca once wrote, what matters is not how intensely you feel, but how long you can endure. He sees patterns, not personalities. Time doesn't make a man colder. It makes him clearer. After enough relationships, he stops being surprised by people and starts being surprised by endings. He's seen how far personality can carry someone before reality steps in. Like a car that looks fancy in the showroom, but starts to shake once it hits the highway. He didn't lack judgment. He just kept seeing different people lead to the same ending. He's not unlucky. He's just been patient in the wrong place. Now he stops reacting and starts watching what actually repeats. Tuesday night usually tells the truth faster than Sunday brunch. That's when most men realize they weren't choosing wrong women. They ignored the wrong signals. Anyone can be charming over coffee. That's the easy version of someone. He reads one clever post and decides she's thoughtful. ChatGPT did most of the talking. She didn't fool him. He just moved faster than his judgment. That happens more often than men admit. Tuesday night just asks who you are when no one's trying. A man once joked, "I used to fall in love fast. Now I wait to see how it feels when nothing special is happening." He notices how she reacts when things don't go smoothly. A late server, a disappointing meal, or a story about a coworker. Like someone who takes his time before committing to something expensive. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You don't suffer because of events. You suffer because of the judgments you keep repeating." Patterns don't trap a man. What traps him is waiting for someone to become different. Potential sounds good, but consistency shows up. Some connections only work because neither person rushes to label the first rough moment. He steps back and lets time show whether it's part of who she is or just something passing through. After that, dating stops feeling confusing. He stops trying to fix what isn't his to carry. Many men confuse care with control without realizing it. She starts talking about a problem. He listens for a moment and his mind jumps ahead, not to her words, to solutions. He thinks he's helping, and nothing kills warmth faster than turning the person in front of you into a problem to solve. When he was younger, caring meant fixing. Whenever something felt wrong, he rushed to smooth it over. He was confusing usefulness with connection. And after a while, you're no longer a partner. You're a service, and it does not end with a fight. It ends with her getting used to you. That is when you lose without noticing. Sometimes she appreciated it, often she didn't. And more than once, it created distance neither of them could name. One man said it plainly, "I thought I was being supportive. Turns out, I was just tired and trying to manage the room." Most men smile when they hear that. Then they stop smiling because they remember how often they did the same thing. The more he tried to stabilize her emotions, the less steady he felt himself. It's like putting on a raincoat when the sky is only cloudy and realizing you're the only one preparing for a storm. She never asked him to prepare for disaster. She just wanted him there. Being there doesn't mean disappearing. Sometimes it means asking one clear question. Sometimes it means saying, "I don't have a solution, but I'm willing to walk through this with you." He notices how often he interrupts to explain what she should do next. The next time she talked, he tried something different. He just listened until she stopped. The conversation ended sooner, and somehow it felt lighter for both of them. An older man sees us clearly now. You can care deeply about someone without taking responsibility for emotions that aren't his. When he stopped jumping in, conversations stopped feeling tense. Because calm doesn't chase resolution, it holds its ground. She talks more, he talks less. One piece of advice at the wrong moment can be worth less than an ice cream. When she's upset, snacks often land better than logic. The healthiest connections don't need a manager. They need two people who can stand on their own. If you're at that stage, leave a word below and move on. Let it be a signpost for the men still searching for their way out of the fog. And that choice changes who stays and who disappears. The ones who need managing usually leave first. Accountability replaces blame. Blame feels relieving at first. Responsibility feels heavier, but it lasts. When he was younger, heartbreak followed a routine he knew too well. He gave more. He adjusted his expectations instead of asking himself if he was heading in the right way. That routine helped him avoid one question he kept pushing aside. Why did I stay? And why did I keep calling it love? Because staying kept me busy enough to feel useful, but not honest enough to leave. Staying felt effective. Leaving hurt. but it was the truth. He realized he wasn't fixing the relationship. He was just delaying the moment that he'd have to admit it wasn't working. She was kind. Nothing was wrong with her. And that made it harder to admit something was wrong with the situation. One man put it bluntly, "I didn't get stuck. I chose to keep going instead of stopping." That was the first honest sentence he'd said about it. He wasn't staying because he still believed in it. He stayed because ending it meant sitting across from her and saying something uncomfortable. Blame is easier. Ownership means facing someone else's tears. You're alone and the quiet hits harder than the breakup ever did. But you stop lying to yourself, and that is where your strength comes back. It was about stopping something that no longer moved. He no longer needs to call women confusing to protect his pride. He can simply say, "This didn't work for me." When his body tightens, he listens instead of talking himself out of it. An older single man doesn't fear responsibility. He values knowing where he stands before investing another year of his life. Guessing is expensive. Experience isn't. If you've reached the stage where ownership feels better than blame, give this video a like. It's a simple way to help this message find the men who are ready to hear it. People stop talking him into things. He hears himself think again. He doesn't replay old decisions anymore. Nothing feels unfinished in his head. After that, things stop feeling complicated. Love becomes clear, not loud. Love rarely ends suddenly. It usually gets pushed before it's ready. What replaces it isn't distance, it's impatience. They've only seen each other a few times. Nothing serious yet. No promises. No arguments. But the questions start coming anyway. They sounded calm, but they arrived faster than the moment deserved. Where is this going? What are we doing here? How do you see this? She's looking for certainty before she lets herself settle. This is usually where men give answers they don't fully believe, just to stop the question from coming back again. An older man doesn't rush to reassure. He notices the tension and doesn't let it decide for him. He's learned what happens when choices are made too early, and nothing falls apart when he waits. Waiting just exposes what was already there. Should I trade peaceful evenings for forced certainty? Larry and a woman he's recently met go out for dinner, and they stay a little longer than planned. No one tries to turn the night into something bigger than it is. This is the part most men struggle with. Doing nothing feels risky, especially to men who were taught that progress must be visible. It also means being willing to have uncomfortable conversations when the moment is right. An older man doesn't avoid clarity. He just waits until both people are calm enough to hear it. She talks about her day, and he makes her laugh. When they leave, nothing feels unfinished. The relationship may look like it's moving slowly, but it isn't. It means letting time do what pressure can't. If something only works when it's being pushed, he doesn't ignore that. Epictetus once said, "Don't seek for things to happen the way you want. Want them to happen as they do, and life goes well." That sounds clean in theory. It feels different when you're sitting across from someone. Larry admit, "I used to chase sparks. Now I pay attention to the evenings that don't drain me." Intensity can start attraction. It can't carry it. It's about seeing how two lives actually function side by side, not during high points or during tension, but during ordinary moments that don't ask for decisions. He holds her gaze and says, "Let time show whether I'm someone you can trust." From that moment, no deadline sitting between two people. Love becomes quieter. Not because it's smaller, but because it no longer needs to prove itself. Fast beginnings don't protect you from fast endings. And when it shows up clearly, it doesn't ask him to rearrange his life to keep it. He understands what women don't want to carry. Most relationships don't break from one bad night. They break when things start feeling heavy, conversations that hold moods he hadn't sorted out yet. It should be a warm bowl of soup. Instead, it's so salty you can't taste anything else. Most women don't want to hold a man's emotional balance on their shoulders. What he calls honesty, she experiences as weight. That doesn't mean they want a cold man. It means they want a stable one. She asks, "Are you okay?" He says yes, but she can tell he's waiting for something back. That's the moment the conversation stops being a check-in and starts feeling like a task. She feels it immediately. Jonathan at 52 put it simply, "I kept bringing yesterday into today, then wondered why the room felt full." She didn't leave because he struggled. She left because nothing ever settled. It shows up when a man vents but never settles. He keeps replaying the story about the boss who blocked his promotion. The story comes out the same way every time, even when nothing new is happening. And the scary part is, he thinks he is just talking, but she feels like she is being asked to hold it again. When he stopped using conversations to release pressure, everything felt lighter. A man who handles his own emotions doesn't ask anyone to carry them. That alone changes how he's seen. If you've noticed it too, you don't have to explain it. Just leave a line here. Most couples don't break from one fight. They break from the feeling of being recruited into each other's moods every day. When a man becomes emotionally self-supporting, she can finally relax. She stops feeling like she has to manage his mood, and that alone changes the whole relationship. And here's what surprises most men. That's when he realizes holding himself steady matters more than holding on tighter. He understands when distance is respect, not withdrawal. Space isn't distance when both people feel grounded. Sometimes it's the first thing that stops everything from falling apart. When he was younger, distance felt dangerous. A late reply triggered questions, so he filled the space before it had time to settle. What happens if you wait? What happens if nothing falls apart? Then maybe it was never fragile to begin with. An older man understands why he did that. He thought closeness had to be constant to be real. But experience teaches him otherwise. When he moves too fast, his care can lose its weight. Sometimes stepping back for a few days lets the connection speak for itself, and she reaches out on her own. Smith makes dinner without checking the phone, and the food tastes the same, and the space doesn't panic him. Sometimes he also needs a little time alone to recharge and come back clearer. The most emotionally uneventful day of the week, and that was the point. A man with a steady life doesn't vanish. He simply doesn't hover. His plans don't change. His day stays intact. But some evenings are long. You can scroll, you can drink, you can call someone you should not call, or you can sit with it and let it pass. That is the price of having a life no one can pull apart. Most men try to escape that price. He pays it. Nothing interrupts his life anymore. An older single man understands this about women. Closeness works best when it's chosen, not enforced. He can be fully there when they meet, without hovering when they don't. That's not withdrawal. That's respect. He doesn't disappear for days and come back with explanations. When he's ready, he returns without needing to justify it. He already has a life that works, so he isn't sitting by the phone waiting for the next message to tell him who he is. When he stops closing every gap, things stop feeling tight. If it feels tight, he waits for the next moment they actually meet. That's the difference between adult connection and quiet anxiety. What he gains isn't detachment, it's perspective. When a man is older and single, he doesn't see women the way he once did. Not with suspicion, not with fantasy. He no longer chases connection to feel complete. If love shows up again, he meets it without rushing. without needing it to rescue him from himself. And if it doesn't, his life still feels ordered. His days still make sense because nothing is pulling at him anymore. And that's why everything feels steady. Some nights you will feel it, but you will never miss who you became when you stopped chasing. And that is worth the quiet. Just the calm confidence of a man who finally understands what matters, what lasts, and what no longer needs to be chased. It keeps him from confusing peace with avoidance and silence with depth. Fewer things reach him now, and the right ones finally can.